Yeah, if anyone can't hear me at any point, just point it out in the chat. There's no problem at all. Um, Give me 1 second. Okay, very good. Um, okay, so what I'll do is I'll just add people in as we're moving along. But as far as I can see, I think we should be okay. All right, very good. Okay, so if everyone can hear me and we can start, we can get a move on straight away. Okay, so my name is John Woodbury. I run a company called Red Dragon Education. Today we're going to be talking specifically about teaching in Thailand and the opportunities, insights, and pathways for international teachers. So we have three speakers this evening. Unfortunately, David from Rugby School Thailand was called into a meeting, bit of a crisis meeting because he's head of boarding at the school, so he's unable to attend this evening. But that shouldn't be an issue. We've still got three other excellent presenters for this evening. Rowena from Totally Teach, which I'm sure many of you will know. Gudrun, who is from Iceland, from the Prem International School in Chiang Mai. And also we've got Lisa Scott from Ascot International School in Bangkok, and also myself as well. So this is going to be the structure of this evening. We're going to speak. I'm going to speak probably for about 10 minutes, just about the basics of Thailand. Then what we're going to do is we're going to break out into individual groups. You've got a choice of three groups: Gudrun, Rowena, and also Lisa. You can choose those after this first introduction. Go into those meetings. Ideally, just stay into those meetings. If for any reason you want to come out, I guess you can, but try not to because it becomes a little bit confusing for myself and recording purposes. So if you can just join those meetings and stay in those. If you want to hear about the other meetings, we're recording everything anyway. So each of the three meetings we're recording. So if you are um, in one meeting you want to listen to the other two, then that's not a problem. Okay, so that will be in around about 5 minutes. We'll have a 20-minute discussion with those three speakers. Then I'll give a 2-minute warning for the end of that. Then we'll jump back into this. We'll have a panel discussion led by my colleague Kyle, where all four of us will talk about Thailand and general international teaching and education. And then we'll just do a wrap up. Any questions as we're going along, please put those into the chat here. We won't really have time for people to turn on videos and also to talk about their questions. So any questions, just put them in here. We will answer them all at the end. Okay, first of all, some Thailand basics. Okay, it's not all just about Bangkok. So it is a major economy, a major country in Southeast Asia. It has a whole range of different cities, countrysides, landscapes, climate, all the way through from tropical, all the way through to Chiang Mai, which in the mountains in Chiang Mai. Gudrun was just saying that this morning it was 8 degrees this morning. So it goes all the way through from 8 degrees this morning in Chiang Mai to probably 30 to 35 in Bangkok this morning. So a whole range of different climates. English, I would say, is used pretty confidently in most parts of the country. I wouldn't say it is as confidently used as in, say, places like Singapore or Malaysia, but it is used pretty widely, and especially if you're going to places that have a high proportion of tourists. Certainly, Mandarin Chinese is used quite widespreadly across the country now, especially in places like Phuket, Bangkok, Chiang Mai as well. Large expat communities of mainland Chinese are now moving or have moved already since the pandemic. Bangkok obviously is the major city and is considered particularly safe for daily life. I would say probably the biggest thing to consider in terms of safety is probably road traffic accidents and just being generally aware of everything around you, especially in busy cities, lots of motorbikes, making sure that you wear helmets, things like that. That's probably your biggest safety concern. It's not pickpocketing, it's not having stuff taken off you. It certainly is road traffic accidents. Doing, maybe injuring yourself if you're going on if you're going diving or something like that. Just being generally aware and um, not being just being aware of your own personal safety and the safety of your family as well. So living costs are considerably lower than if you were living in Singapore and Hong Kong. Obviously, you can spend the similar amount of money as in Singapore and in Hong Kong, but you don't need to. Okay, it is very, very easy to get by on a modest wage. A lot of schools will pay well, but I wouldn't say that the wages are comparable to, if you're looking like for like, they probably wouldn't be comparable to what you'd be getting in China. But it is a lot cheaper. The lifestyle, the what you can do there, places you can visit, they're all things that you need to consider if you are thinking about moving to Thailand. So the international school network is long established. We've got some schools that are over 100 years old. A lot of the better international schools, which are not for profit, international schools in Bangkok and other cities like Phuket and Chiang Mai, very, very well resourced, extremely extremely well run schools. They would expect you to have a lot of experience. You would need to be fully qualified with a teaching license or QTS, at least 4 to 5 years experience in a good school. And if you are currently working in China, I know a lot of people will be working in China, you really do need to lean into this when you're making your application. You've got to consider that the number one international student in any one of these schools will be mainland Chinese. So the fact that you are aware of how to work with mainland Chinese, you need to really lean into this and to make a big point of this when you're making your application. Housing is reasonable and private healthcare is dependable. So again, housing very similar to large cities, lots and lots of condos, not an awful lot of house living, so you won't get many villas. Maybe if you're in other cities like Chiang Mai or potentially Phuket, if you're on the edges of those cities, you might be able to get a landed property. But for the most part, most people live in well resourced, well organized condos, and each one of these condos would normally have a swimming pool, a gym, probably a set of restaurants nearby or actually within the building. They might have a meeting room, breakout rooms, stuff like that. So, if you are looking to live in a condo, don't think that it's just going to be, a sort of a lifeless sort of building block. And they are very, very well organized. And if you spend a little bit more, you don't have to spend a huge amount more. If you spend an extra couple of hundred US dollars a month, you can live in pretty much one of the best places in Thailand to live in. Families enjoy a warm climate and active expat communities. So very different to much of Asia, especially in China. It's very much an outdoor society. You do everything outdoors, even when it's hot. Obviously, you would probably try to avoid the hottest days of the hottest times of the day at midday and things like that. But a lot of things do happen outdoors. You don't spend some you do spend some time indoors, but in terms of eating out, doing sports, going on holidays and things like that, it is very much an outdoor environment and an outdoor country. So if that's something that you're really wanting, something that you're missing, or something you want to have as a part of your everyday life, then certainly Thailand's a really good place for you to go. Travel around Southeast Asia is very, very straightforward and quick. So again, you can go on Scoot, you can go on AirAsia, you can go on Bangkok Airways, Thai Airlines. All of these, all of these low cost airlines, you can get to pretty much anywhere for $100 return normally. Um, and there's multiple locations that you can travel from each one of the cities. So Bangkok has two airports, and you can travel pretty much anywhere in Southeast Asia within an hour or two max. So, for example, I'm living in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. I can get to Bangkok within just under 2 hours, and it is extremely affordable to travel around the region. And then short trips from most cities can be done by car. In Bangkok, probably most people don't have a car. The public transport's excellent, and you don't really need to get around by car. But within all the other cities and other regions of Bangkok, the vast majority of expats and teachers would buy a car, and then you would use that car just to go on local trips to beaches or anywhere. You could. It's a very well resourced, and most of the roads are pretty good. I would say the driving's not fantastic, but you can take your time and you don't have to drive too fast. Okay, perfect. Right, so if we would like to jump the um, into the where are we? Sorry. Okay, breakout rooms. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, so would people now like to join the individual rooms? So can people join their rooms? Yeah, so just join the rooms if you can see them. Can everyone see the rooms? Okay, if you haven't joined a room, I will assign you one. Aidan, can you jump in a room? Anna, can you jump in a room? Raha, Holtan, Jay. Otherwise, I'll push you in a room. Hi, Lisa. Hi, hi.
Hmm.
Are you a co-host? I was just seeing whether you were. I don't think you are, are you? Or are you?
Am I what?
Are you a co-host? Can you share your? Have you got any slides or anything or not?
No, I don't have any slides,
No,
no.
no, that's fine. If you haven't got any slides, it's not a problem then. Okay, cool. I'll turn my video off. Cool. I think we're good.
Okay, so there's four people, but there's no cameras. So are they there?
Yeah, they're all there. I've just turned you've turned all the Do you want the cameras on?
Yeah, if that's okay. It's
Yeah,
weird
yes.
looking at blank screens.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. Cool.
And are they able to ask questions if they want to?
Yeah, yeah. By all means, yeah, no problems.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to have you in this room today. My name is Lisa Thorpe. I am the head of primary at Ascot International School in Bangkok, in Thailand. And I'm the incoming principal for next academic year as well. I have only been in Thailand for a short amount of time. I have been here for 5 months, but I have been working internationally for 15 years. And so I know a lot about working overseas and what it is that you need to help yourself get ready for working in other countries and specifically in Thailand. So I'm here today to address any questions and talk about what it is to work in Thailand and what schools are looking for at the recruitment stage. Um, so I'm assuming most of you is my video's on, yes. Okay. Anyone else
No.
who's in?
Yeah, I'm just
Hmm?
saying people can turn on their video. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I've got Erna, Adam T, Edward, and Photo. Please, if you don't mind, turn on the video. It's much nicer, feels more personal. Otherwise, it looks like I'm just talking to a screen. And you can also unmute yourself and ask questions or pop questions in the chat if you have any questions as well. So feel free to do that too. So what I'm here today to talk about is working in Thailand and what schools are looking for when they are looking for staff members. It's coming up to the recruitment season now. Many schools are starting to recruit because generally this is the time when current staff in schools in Bangkok and in Thailand need to give their notice of if they're staying or not. So it is a bit earlier than some other countries. But that's totally fine. And it's good because that means we get the cream of the crop as well. So when looking at what does a school look for in relation to moving to Bangkok, it is a very vibrant city. It is a city that has so much to offer. But it still is a Southeast Asian city, and there is not necessarily the what word am I looking for? It might not necessarily be the same as your home culture. And so we need to make sure that people understand that there are cultural differences that occur when you come into this country that you do need to be aware of, and that you're ready for that. Expat teaching obviously is something that's very different to working in your home country, and being really open-minded and willing to take on the country and the culture is so important. For example, many schools will have food available for you or free meals as a part of your package. And a lot of that would be Asian food. So you do need to be open to trying new things and being able to explore food and just being open to the culture. When we're looking at CVs, it's really important to see that somebody has left the home country before, if it's not to work overseas internationally, but it is even at least to travel. That shows that you have an open mind, that you're willing to explore, you're willing to make connections with other cultures, and immersing yourself in those cultures is key. You will come into an international school here and you will find yourself with international students, but you'll also find yourself with a lot of Thai students and Thai, Chinese, Korean, would be a lot of the nationalities that you would see here. And understanding that there are cultural differences in how you interact with them. There's cultural differences into the expectations that they have on their children and the expectations that they have on you as a school. So being aware of that and not bringing your own personal bias to the new country or into Bangkok is really, really important. International experience on your CV is always a first, something that I personally look for when I'm looking at hiring new staff. Yes, of course, I would hire somebody who hasn't been international before because everyone needs to start somewhere and everyone needs to have a chance. However, international experience on your CV is something that is a huge draw card for me. Also, somebody who has stayed a while in an individual school. So if you have worked for 1 year in one school and 1 year in another, 1 year in a different country, that would be a red flag for me. And that would be something that I would be concerned about and possibly wouldn't even proceed through to interview stage for a candidate that has a CV like that. Because you are looking for somebody who is interested in stability. When I see somebody who's moved around a lot, that makes me concerned that they are either unable to fit in with the culture of the host country, or they're unable to fit in with the school, and so then that would be a red flag. When coming to Bangkok, if you're, for example, in the city in Bangkok, and it's very easy to have a very nice nightlife, and it is important to also remember, excuse me, remember that you also have a job. So, whilst we're looking for people who are outgoing and like to explore and like to try new things, we are looking for people who are also having a balance between the two, because there is pretty much anything and everything you can think of in Bangkok. There is a very big nightlife scene, but utilizing that on the weekend is key. And so that is something we would look for as well. Somebody who understands the difference between, excuse me, the difference between just living in a country and living and working in a country, and being able to support both. An understanding of different cultures, like I've also shared, is also something that is invaluable. In most international schools in Bangkok, you're going to get students from 20, 30 to 50 nationalities from all around the world. And having an understanding that that means that you have a high EAL school is key. Now, some people would define EAL as students who need extra assistance from like the EAL department or the learning support department. However, there is two ways to look at EAL. EAL is, yes, the ones who are coming to you with little to no English and require specific intervention. And the other type of EAL is the majority of the students that we have here in Bangkok, where English is not their home language. So an understanding of how to support EAL students above and beyond those who come into your school with little to no English is essential, because the majority of the children you will be faced with every day in your classroom will be English as an additional language students, and that does require a specific skill set. I often see teachers who will say, I only have 3 children in my class who are EAL, where indeed they have 22 who are EAL and only 3 of them go out for extra intervention. That skill set does require more than just the normal teaching skills, because regardless of what year you are working in, what grade you have, the children require different instruction. It could be using more visuals, it could be sentence stems. There's so many different things, but that goes all the way through to secondary. We do have a number of children who come into schools every year with little to no English, and some of them will have absolutely zero English, and they'll be starting from the start, looking at how you're supporting them, and that could be somebody even through to year 10. So it's making sure that you're catering for their needs in all aspects. So I would say my key my key areas is having an open mind and cultural understanding of differences, ensuring that you have background in working with students who are EAL students, and also making sure that you have a CV that shows stability in your previous roles. Edward and Adam T, you are still here. Do you have any specific questions that you would like to ask? If not, I'm just going to keep on speaking. Um, as I said, Bangkok is a very vibrant city and it is huge. And so if you have not been here before, it is good to know that it is a very big city and there are many, many international schools, and many of them are not in the heart of the city. And this is something that a lot of people don't necessarily know when they come here. They think they're going to be living in the center of the city, near Sukhumvit Road, and with all the high-rise apartments. There are schools in that area, but a lot of the schools are out in the suburban areas. And therefore it's a weighing up, where do you want to live and where are you going to work, and what happens in relation to travel time. So for example, where Ascot International School is about 35 minutes in good traffic from Sukhumvit Road, Terminal 21 area. However, in school traffic, it could take an hour to 2 hours to get home in the evening. So many people do live out in the suburbs, which is different to living in the middle of the city in the high-rise apartments with the buzz around you all of the time. So it is really important to understand the location of your school, because Bangkok is so big. And with international schools, they need to have space and they need to have land. So a lot of them are on the outskirts or in the actual suburbs of Bangkok. So understanding where your school is placed, what is in that area, if you're willing to live in that area, or if you're looking to live in the city. That is key when looking at what school you might apply for. And then if you do apply for a school out in the suburbs, then what are you willing to sacrifice? Do you want to live in the city or do you want to live in the suburbs? Is the travel time important or not? So those kind of things need to be taken into account in your planning phase for when you're actually applying for a school. This happens a lot when we have parents who, we go to admission fairs, or parents who have heard about us, or we're at events, and they're like, oh, your school looks amazing. We'd love to come. Where is it? And then once they hear where it is, oh no, we live on the other side of Bangkok. The other side of Bangkok could be 2 hours away. So it is really key to take into consideration all of that when you're planning a move to such a huge city like Bangkok. Edward and Adam, I feel really strange just talking constantly. So please, if you don't mind, turn the camera on and ask any questions that you might have. That would be lovely.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Lisa. Sorry, I'm on my desktop right now, so I don't have a camera set up with me.
That's fine.
I just have a quick question. The school I'm currently working with out in Abu Dhabi, they actually give us support from our accommodation to the school. So they give a bus drive that goes every 15 minutes and such between the school and our accommodation. Is that also common in schools in Thailand, in your school, for example?
No, no. And I know a lot of schools in Thailand. Even though I've been here a
Mm.
short time, I've already developed quite a network, and I know a lot of people in other schools across Bangkok. No, it's not common because Bangkok itself is such a big city and people have the choice to live where they want. So we do
Mm.
have staff members living in various areas. It's not as common as it is in like Abu Dhabi or Dubai, where they have housing complexes where most of the staff would live. So doing the transport drop off and pick up is quite easy for cities like that, where they put people into one apartment complex. So here you get a housing allowance. So all of the schools will give you a housing allowance that usually in nearly every single case covers the housing that you choose to have. But it is your choice where you want to live. And so no, it's not accommodation. Sorry, it's not pick up to and from your accommodation, because it's not the same setup as in the UAE where you have the apartment block for your school or for that company.
Yes, okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just like to add as well, I've been to Bangkok many, many times, and actually the public transport and actually getting around Bangkok is very, very efficient, even though actually probably getting in a car is probably the least efficient way of getting around the city. And you find that out pretty quickly after your first
Yeah.
sort of hour spent in the rain, not moving at all. So yeah, the
Yeah,
public transport is very, very good. And you can get pretty much anywhere in the city, pretty much anywhere in the city, right?
and
Within.
you
And
can
puff and
pretty much in the city, anywhere on the public transport, on the BTS, etc. If you are in a school that is in the suburbs, and like I said, there are many schools that are in the suburbs, people who choose to live city-based would have a bike because that is a lot quicker to get through traffic on a bike than
yeah.
in a car.
Mm.
But if they don't have a bike, they do generally get drivers and they don't drive themselves. But then the people who live in the suburbs will have cars because then they're not tackling the same thing.
Yeah.
Does Thailand consider the issue of non-native and native English speakers like China? So it depends on the school, but generally, no, it is a lot more open-minded here in relation to a very culturally diverse staff. I found across generally most of the schools that I've interacted with here in Bangkok so far. It's not about being a native speaker, but you do need to be proficient and almost like fluent speaker. For example, in my school, we have, I would say, more of our staff are non-native speakers than they are. But they are proficient and don't make grammatical mistakes, stuff like that. So there will be a few schools in Bangkok who do still have that kind of philosophy. They would be the T1 schools, the very top schools of Bangkok who charge a lot, but that is not very many. It is a very culturally diverse city. I have met many staff from across Bangkok schools already, and they are so diverse and no, not necessarily native English speakers. It is quite different to China in the sense where it's more open-minded to different cultures as well. So I do know that there are some countries where, for example, specific African countries or East Asian countries are not preferred. Passport holders are not preferred. I have worked somewhere before where African Americans were not preferred. That's not the case here. It is
Yeah.
very diverse and everybody is welcome. And you'll see that in the student population as well. So you see it in the student population and in the staff cohorts in the schools as well. So no, it's not the same.
Yeah, because in China specifically, it's a prescribed list that you can't really get out of because
Yeah.
if you're not on that prescribed list, you can't get the visa. So
Yes.
I know a lot of people will think that it's it's from the school side, but it's not. It's actually from the government side, and
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah.
Well, some schools try and get around it, but I wouldn't work for those schools to be honest. If they're trying to get around those kind of rules. So uh,
Yeah. No. And I know that in the UAE and across like Qatar and Saudi as well, they have specific rules of what degree you need to have from
yeah,
certain countries. So that also
yeah,
eliminates many people, but it's not the same here. You need to have a appropriate degree. As long as you have an appropriate degree from your home country, you can apply for the teacher's license. So it doesn't need to be from any specific country like in the Middle East. So yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I'm
Anyone else got
sorry.
any other questions?
Um, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Adam.
Yeah. Sorry, just going right back to what you just said. Could you be more specific what you mean by degree? I mean, I have a physics degree from my university in my home country, and I didn't get a teaching degree to teach out here in Abu Dhabi. They just gave me the position with that respective degree in teaching that specific subject. Would it
Mhm.
be the same in places like Thailand, or do you need a specific teaching degree to teach on top of a degree in your subject area?
So you would be fine because of the physics degree, although I don't know how you passed in Abu Dhabi because I know the teacher
Yeah.
licensing is quite strict. So that was a good one for
Yeah.
you to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a degree in your field. If you were in primary, however, you do need to have a Bachelor of Education, which is different to secondary, because secondary is the subject specific. So I know
Okay.
that we have people in the school right now who have a degree in music or philosophy, mathematics, and they're teaching. But it needs to be the degree of your subject area and then experience in that field as well. It couldn't just be you have a degree, walked off the street, you've never worked in a school before. So you need to have that experience as well. But if you're in primary, you do need to have an education degree because it is different in primary. Yeah.
And
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
and QTS?
So
No.
QTS
Yeah.
QTS is preferred.
Yes.
It's something that is preferred, but there are people who get their teacher's license without it, because not everybody comes from the UK.
No,
So,
no, no, no. I'm just saying because Malaysia doesn't recognize QTS still. They used to, and then they stopped. And
wow.
now we're lobbying. We're lobbying the government.
Yeah.
They just I don't ask. It's Malaysia. It's sometimes things don't go according to plan. But anyway, yeah. So QTS is a good way around that anyway.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna call. Anyone else got any other questions? I think we're gonna call it because if we call it in about a minute, is that okay?
sure.
Okay, and we'll go back into the main room. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you. Hope that was useful.
Yeah, if anyone's got any other questions, we can do a quick minute.
No, that's fine. We can go back now. Thank you.
Cool. Au fait with the whole breakout room going backwards and forwards. Anyway, it is what it is. Okay, so is everyone back in the main room now? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So is everybody back in the main room now? Uh, why are they? Can everyone hear me now? Yeah. All right. So is everyone back? Everyone out of their rooms now? I think so, right? Can you unmute? Cool. Hi, Rowena. Right.
Hi, John. Sorry.
Hi. Hi. Yeah, cool. Cool. That took longer than anticipated. Okay. Carl's going to ask a couple of questions to us, or I can ask the questions. It's probably just as easy. Um, I don't know. Is everyone okay with another sort of 5-10 minutes? Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that 20 minutes went on for a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but that's okay. I think everyone enjoyed it, so hopefully we've recorded it. Yeah, it should be fine. Okay. Okay. I'll start with Lisa. What is the one thing that you wish every teacher knew before moving to Thailand? Because obviously that's quite an apt one for yourself.
I think that it's really important to know that there is a lot of cultural differences and a lot of cultural celebrations that it's really important to embrace and become a part of, to be seen as a part of the community and um, to value what's happening. So, for example, quite early on in the academic year, there will be an event called Loy Krathong. There's oh my goodness. We've already had like 3 events, which I can't remember all their names. But there is quite a few events that happen in Thailand quite early in the academic year. And it's really important to learn about them, embrace them, go and buy the appropriate clothing because it means so much to the community. And when the community sees you coming dressed in the Thai clothing on those days and embracing their culture, it really speaks a lot to you trying to embrace where you are, to fit into the community, and to respect the host country. And I think it's just one thing to really show that show you're part of the school community by doing it, and it means a lot to the parents and a lot to the students as well.
Nice. Good then. Same question.
About moving to Thailand.
Yeah, anything that you would say is like the number one thing to consider before moving?
I think I know that everybody says Thailand is a land of smiles, when we know that. But I think you need to be smiling with your mouth and you need to be smiling with your heart. I think that that needs to be, is very important. Patience, not because things happen slowly, but because it gets you much further than impatience, stomping your feet, tapping your watch will ever get you. So just breathe, smile with your soul, and everything will be fine.
You've just described my last 2 years in Malaysia, so. But then I lived in Shanghai for 19 years, so like it was always going to be very, very different. So you are quite right. You need to be you need to be very patient in Southeast Asia. But you end up being very more laid back and relaxed and
More
healthier.
zen, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to add, Rowena? Not necessarily specifically for Thailand, but just in general, if you're moving abroad.
Yeah, I think from like a recruiter's perspective, it's really knowing why you want to move to where you want to move, because packages are different. I think a big thing, especially if we use going from China to Thailand, is you can't be expecting to earn the same money and have the same sort of lifestyle and things like that. And so therefore, why are you making the move? And there are other things. It's good for like lifestyle, maybe it's career progression, but just to know that that's kind of the reason why in your mind, because it makes a big difference of kind of, is this the right move for me or is somewhere else better? And it's what we always talk about, is it the right fit in that way? So I think it's a little bit different from my perspective, maybe from school hiring people. But yeah, and in general, I think that people need to really research where they're going, lean on resources that you can
Mm.
reach out to. But I think that for me, the education industry is full of people that want to help each other. I have received, or maybe I'm lucky, but I've received that from everyone, and just message people on LinkedIn that are living in Thailand, working in Thailand, and say, how is it for you? Especially if you can see they've moved from somewhere else, like Lisa from Dubai, and then now how was it? Are you enjoying it? And they'll be more honest with you maybe than someone else. So just really have a think of why you want to go somewhere and kind of what's your priority. And I think that would be
Mm.
see if it's a good fit or not.
Yeah, definitely. And a good fit both ways, both from the school's perspective and also from the teacher's perspective as well. Good. What stands out most about working with Thai students on a day-to-day basis? Gudrun.
Gosh.
Sorry.
I think it's because I came from Latin America, and it's a vast difference
Ah,
in sort of dispositions and stuff. But I think it's what I really appreciate is the kindness, because I think there's a big difference between being polite and being kind. And I feel like while the two often go together, I find that my students are unfailingly kind. They're looking after each other. They're kind to their teacher. They're
mm,
kind in their words, and there's obviously, kindness there. These I teach middle school mostly. And so kindness takes different shapes and forms when you're 11, 12, and 13. But I do notice that really stands out, that they are, yeah, they look out for each other. And I really appreciate that. That makes me very happy to come to school every day.
Lisa, what's your first impressions compared with the Middle East?
I have to say that I agree with Gudrun, that these have to be some of the most respectful and kind students I have ever come across ever. I don't see any pretentiousness about them that I've seen in some other places. It's a very genuine, respectful culture. There is a lot of respect for teachers and people in education, and you'll see this with how they use their hands. So their hands, when they say swadika, it all depends on their level of respect. And so when they're speaking to teachers, they would do the respect hands quite high because they have a high level of respect. But I just think again the general kindness is overwhelming. I absolutely adore the children that I work with at all levels, all the way through across the school. Just, every time someone passes you, they will always greet you. They're always there to support their colleagues, their friends, their peers. I've just seen some of the most heartwarming things in the last 5 months, and I haven't necessarily seen that in schools internationally before. So yeah, it is something different and it is something quite special. And for the expat kids that are in the school, they're picking up on that and then they're becoming that as well, which is what I really love, that it becomes part of the culture. One thing I want to add about the question before, something to prepare yourself for when coming to Thailand, it is humid and it rains a lot.
Sounds like Wales.
Maybe not so humid in Wales though.
No, it's true.
Damp.
It's true. It's just damp. Yeah, cold. That's inside the house as well. So yeah. Okay. So what makes a teacher stand out during in a recruitment process? Rowena, what would you like to add on that?
I think CV wise, it's very clear who you are as an educator. From the moment I say it, that for an initial scan, my team are trained to be able to scan in 30 seconds kind of what level this teacher's at on our tier system. And so if your CV can't clearly tell someone that in 30 seconds, it's also not going to catch the eye of the hiring person in a school if it's a direct application either. So tell me who you are. Not everyone gets a chance to interview. So your pre-interview is based on your CV. So tell me what you teach, who you've taught, how long you've done it for. Show stability is a massive one now across the globe. Principals don't want to see teachers that have moved every year, even, unless there's really good explanation for it and strong references to back it up. And I think the biggest thing is, do you align? Everything is about fit. And that is why the hiring process is actually really subjective, because it depends who's hiring you. And it doesn't mean that you're not a good educator, not that at all. It just might mean that you're not the right fit for that school and for the time of the part of the journey that school is on. A founding school is a very different environment to a school that's been established for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So think about who you are as an educator and where you fit with the school that you're applying for. And I think that will make you stand out amongst 200 or more other applications for positions these days.
Yeah, I think also the journey the school's on as well. And if the principal's on a journey, and all principals are on a journey, aren't they? And if
Yeah.
you're not part of that journey, you're not going to get a job. I think people do. I know a lot of people do take it very personally when they don't get a job in what they deem to be their dream school. But if you don't fit and you join a school that you
And
don't
I
fit
think,
into, yeah, go on.
just to add to that as well, because I worked in Malaysia before, and I know that the demographics at the school shifted as well. And so when I was there, we were all young whippersnappers, and sort of all, which meant they'd want us for the group dynamics. But now that same school has more settled families, and so
Yeah,
they're not going to hire 25-year-old me, because I would have been miserable now in 2025 when I was perfectly happy in 2014. And so there is that as well. And again, as Rowena said, it's not about you as an educator. It's just that, are you going to come, absolutely hate it, and leave after 6 months because you don't
Doesn't suit. It doesn't.
feel a
Yeah,
sense of
it doesn't
belonging?
suit anyone, does it?
Yeah.
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 Would you like to add anything, Lisa?
I think I said in my breakout room an understanding of how to support EAL students, because the majority of your students will be EAL, regardless of if they're brand new to English, have little to no. Just generally, most children in schools in Bangkok, English is not their mother tongue, and so having an understanding of how to support that is essential all the way through to high school in every subject area.
Mm. Yeah, I said before during that breakout room is if you are working in China, you can work in any international school in the whole world, and there'll be a big chunk of mainland Chinese students everywhere in the world now. So if you have experience and you are good at working with mainland Chinese students who are very different to people from Hong Kong and elsewhere, you need to lean into it, because it's really, really important that you have that skill. So what one piece of advice would you give someone deciding whether to move now or wait a year? Lisa.
Move now, just do it. Honestly,
Agreed.
Thailand has absolutely exceeded my expectations in so many ways. It is just so wonderful here. The work-life balance is completely different to anywhere I've ever worked. People are so friendly, it's very cheap. But do your research. Do research into what kind of school you are looking for, where you want the school to be. If you are looking at Bangkok, I shared in my breakout room that Bangkok is a humongous city, and there are schools right out in the suburbs, absolutely nowhere near the city. You could be an hour to an hour and a half away from the city center. So do research on where the school is. Also do research into what type of school it is. There are many, many, many schools here. Lots of them call themselves international schools, and some of them are not necessarily international schools. So yes, exactly, John. So make sure you're doing your research into what type of international school it is, what curriculum it has, what cohort it has. In an interview, ask, what demographic is the staff as well, even ask to speak to a staff member. But I wish I had moved earlier, because it has been the best thing I ever did. But I think I was meant to find the school I'm at, so I'm glad that I only moved when I did. But do your research for sure, but do it now.
Yeah. Good one.
I think just to kind of hop onto what Rowena said, I think I want to say sort of wherever you go, there you are. And so think about your motives for leaving as well. Why you're leaving now? Because as I mentioned kind of in my breakout room, you still have to do the dishes in Thailand. It's
Really?
paradise. I know they didn't tell you this. They don't tell you this
Get
in
a
the interview.
dishwasher.
But it is Thailand is absolutely fantastic, but the grass isn't always greener. I think that people need to have sort of again good reasons for moving on, and not be running away from something that maybe they need to be reflecting on with themselves as
Yeah.
well. Because I know that a lot of people are mobile and they say that, oh, it's impossible at this school, or something, that they need to be thinking about what are they bringing with them, and what are they hoping to find.
Marina?
I think what I would say is really specific from China to Thailand is I would say move now if you're in kindergarten, just because of what's happening in the market at the moment.
Or even early primary, right?
Exactly. Then yeah, I echo Lisa, just do it now. If it's the right move for you, and if it's the right lifestyle you want, and XYZ, all those other reasons, then yeah. If you're in middle and high school in China, and like you say, if it's not broke, don't fix it, then you've got a few more years. And you can start researching, where you want to go. Is Thailand the right place or is another country? But as I mentioned in my breakout room, things are booming in Thailand. There's a lot of foreign investment, especially in Bangkok. There's a lot of schools opening. So it's an exciting place to be. And if you hit it before it's, kind of at its peak, that's where the opportunities are. So yeah, just see if it's the right decision for you.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of people also think that you can't go back as well, which I never really understood as a teacher. I know, I suppose it's like just generally, but if you've left China, you can always go back. China's not going anywhere. I know there's, I know things do change and people move on and stuff like that. You don't always necessarily have to be close one chapter and not then reopen it in the future. I know lots of people don't do it, but I think China's one of those places where it's big enough for you to go back as well. So don't just
Yeah.
don't certainly don't burn your bridges. Definitely never burn your bridges in international schools, and leave for the right reasons on good terms, because it's a very small pond.
It's
Yes, it is incredibly small. Okay, then last one. What is the most rewarding part of teaching or leading in Thailand from your perspective, Lisa, so far? I know it's a short.
The
I
people,
know it's
the
yeah,
people for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gudrun?
I think there's room for meaningful change. People want to move. We're very sort of sustainability, service-oriented school,
Yeah.
and it comes from the heart. And uh, it really feels that here, like people are driven to do something about things, and that's been incredibly rewarding. That we want to move the school in the right direction. We want to move the world in the right direction. And you find like-minded people, students and teachers who are willing to make that happen, and that's been an absolute joy.
Mm. Well, I visited the school twice, once in 2007 and once in 2008. And it's a great school. It's one of the best schools
Mhm.
I've visited. It's a fantastic school.
Yes. We haven't started recruiting yet, but if anybody's interested, find me
There
on
we
LinkedIn.
go. There we go. Perfect. Perfect way to finish. I'm sure Rowena can help. But yeah, very good. Has anyone got any specific questions that they would like to ask? Maybe we'll take one more question before we finish. Yeah, Jordan, yeah, you can turn on your voice, it's fine. Hey Jordan. Hey.
Hi there, John. I've got a question about professional development. So, the point in my career now, I'm looking for a school that really provide me some better professional development that I'm receiving here. So, I know a lot of the top international schools will give specific subsidies instead of giving a whole department-wide PD. Is this common as well in the schools, the top schools in Thailand?
From my knowledge, yes, it is. That most schools have quite a good professional development budget. What I've seen already is that there's a lot of external people who come in and do professional development in across a few of the international schools. There's a lot of educational conferences that happen here in Bangkok as well, which is a great opportunity because you can then go to them and it's local, but there's also a lot in Southeast Asia. ECOS is incredible. Probably one of the best experiences that I've ever had was going to ECOS. But yes, most schools also have a budget per person that you can go and do additional training because in Southeast Asia, there is so many places to go in this region for training. If you're in an IB school, you'll also be required to do mandatory IB training according to what you're teaching. So there is many options actually. I've been quite impressed to see how much there is here.
Yeah. Actually, and one thing that is, well, I do a lot of I do a lot of events, and Bangkok and Malaysia and KL specifically. Bangkok actually is like the number one destination for most big events. So if you are based in Thailand, yeah, the teachers and the leaders and the schools really make a lot of use of all the different events that are going on. And there seems to be stuff going on for teacher PD like every week in Bangkok. There's so much stuff going on. I don't think you could attend it all, honestly. I don't think you could. And most of it's free as well, it seems.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
or very low cost. So it
Well,
makes
very,
it
very
really
low cost. Yeah, extremely low cost because it's usually subsidized by somebody or some organization. So I think
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more developed than what it is in China. I think maybe in China it's too spread out. A lot of this, I don't know. It seems like in Southeast Asia the schools are a lot more collegiate and more willing to work together as well. I think that in China there's a lot more sort of rivalry between schools. And I would say that certainly schools would be more than happy for their teachers to go and go and visit another school campus. They wouldn't really care. Whereas in China, I know maybe things have changed in the last 2 years, but it was always a big thing. You're not allowed to go and visit another school to do PD because everyone just thinks they're going to steal your teachers, which it's not the case, right? But yeah, I'm sure you understand that, Jordan, right? There's a lot of
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, we touched on this one before. Do you want to touch on that one again, Lisa? But I don't. The discrimination between native and non-native. I think we touched on this before. I think you're probably Raha. I know you're in China, so the big difference is that it's not a prescribed list. There's no prescribed list in Thailand for for getting visas. So in China, there's a prescribed list in terms of native and non-native. But yeah, good one. Go on.
Non-native from Iceland. So just to say, there is for your visa, you have to pass a language test. So it could be IELTS or TOEFL,
Yeah.
but schools don't. It's not a barrier at all. And you'll find that in Thailand, people are very open. I think we have 27 nationalities, I think, of teachers at my school. So there's no overwhelming majority. We don't have 10 Canadians or something. We have just a genuine spread. So this is a good place, regardless of where you're from.
Yeah, I will echo that. There is definitely a massive diversity in my school as well. There is some additional visa requirements for some countries. For example, when I came in and my South African or Ethiopian colleagues came in at the same time as me, they had to go do extra processes for their visa that I didn't have to do, but the school sorted it and they're used to it and it was very easy. So it's not about native or non-native at all here, as long as you have the right degrees for the role that you're taking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very China specific. I don't know, is it? Well, there are other countries that do it, but China is very explicit with the list. So
And Middle East is too.
Middle East as well. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, Anna, last question then. Very last question, Anna. Do you want to put your yeah, go for it.
Hi, and thank you, everybody. This was very useful.
No problem.
And I want to ask, the recruiter mentioned earlier that stability is a problem. And I want to ask for my specific case because I started as a kindergarten teacher. Then I got my master's degree and I upgraded primary, then secondary, and I stayed there. But do you consider this kind of upgrade or career
Progression.
change, or
Yeah.
yeah, or it's still considered not stable enough?
Hi, Anna. How long were you at each school when you were teaching kindergarten and then primary you moved up?
So I was about 1 year in a kindergarten. Then I stayed in a primary school 1 year, and I changed from primary to secondary for about 3.5 years. It's been.
Perfect. And so your secondary experience is your latest experience that you've been at the same school for 3.5 years?
I was in a bilingual school for 1.5 years and finishing my 2 years contract, but signed again another 2 years, so it's gonna be 4 years here.
Perfect. Then no. I would still get references from your kindergarten and primary employers. But because your most recent one has been, as you say, nearly 4 years, then no, that wouldn't be seen as unstable. You've done a qualification in the meantime as well. But I would still, because you did make that jump, make that very clear in a cover letter, for example, that you were trying to progress into the role that clearly you're suited to now, which is secondary, and collect those references from your kindergarten and from the primary that you worked at as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up. If anyone has any other additional questions that they want to ask to people, just pass them on to me. Most people have got my WeChat. Yeah, we will have recordings of this, no problems at all. Just if you want a recording of this, just please send me an email. Or if you want to, you can add me on WeChat. Okay, yeah, and we're all on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, by all means, hit us up on LinkedIn. You can find me, and I can connect you with either Lisa or Rowena. So no problems at all. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in this evening. It was really, really enlightening and very informative. Thank you, Gudrun, Lisa, and Rowena for spending time and giving their excellent advice. And if you would like to speak to us or listen in next week, we're going to be talking about Vietnam. I've got a group of schools that are interested in that. So please, if you're also interested in Vietnam, or you know somebody that is interested in Vietnam, please get in touch. So that'll be the last one before Christmas. Okay. Thank you very much.